This year, we've already seen the Galaxy Note, the OnePlus 7T, the iPhone 11, and the Pixel 4. They were all announced and released. So why are we talking about the Pixel 3a? Let's do it, guys. You're here, I'm here. Let's do it. We gotta have the conversation. Come on now. Hi everyone, my name is Rajiv. I have a lot to say and so little time. So this is the Pixel 3a 6 months after. So unlike Google's last press conference, the Pixel 3a is actually something that Google did right. Now at this point in time, I'm not going to say that the Pixel 3a is the best budget device that you can buy, but it's important to discuss there are a lot of things that Google did correctly on a device that was originally priced for $400. Now, this is obviously coming out after the Black Friday season, so there were a couple of deals. Now, just a quick recap. On May 16th, Google announced the Pixel 3a. I distinctly remember that day specifically. I just come home from work and I was lying in bed and I was using my then daily driver, which was the Galaxy S10. I remember it being at about 10% battery life. This is acceptable, but it's not anything exemplary. It's not something that I'm proud about. And I remember actually, when I used the Galaxy S10, I always had to top it off in the afternoon. Put it on the charger for about 10 to 15 minutes. Not long, but you know, I definitely had to put it on the charger. The thing that always irked me was if I hadn't juiced it up just for about 10-15 minutes during the day, there's a very, very good chance that I would have been out of battery before my work day, if you want to call it that, was over. If I couldn't charge my phone in the middle of the day, there's a very, very good chance that my phone would have been dead when I actually needed it most. Not a comfortable position to find yourself in. The Pixel 3a announcement actually could not have come at a better time, and Google was making just way too compelling of an offer for me to even consider passing it up. The price of a Google Pixel 3a non-XL was $399. That was the starting price. Now, get this. If you had the iPhone SE, Google was banking on the fact Pixel 3a was going to be so great that they were going to give you up to $250 off. Just if you traded in the iPhone SE. So I did what any sensible person would do. I went on Craigslist and I bought myself an iPhone SE. I found one for about 70 bucks. It was a Verizon version with 16 gig, and Google took it. They took the trade-in and they gave me $250 towards the price of the Pixel 3a that I had bought. This was absolutely an insane deal. And just to make it even crazier, Google offers $100 of Store Play credit. I mean, at one point I was sitting there and asking myself, how is Google even making money on this specific deal? Now, I have to say, if you're not in the United States, then these little niceties may not apply to you. Sorry. Now, with that being said, I don't necessarily want this to be a review. Now, there's plenty of those for this specific phone, but it's important to look at objectively how well this phone is done 6 months after, in retrospect. Let's do it. Now, for all the bells and whistles that a flagship phone offers, the Pixel just doesn't really do it in the build department. I don't think there's anyone really arguing that. But when it's $399, does it even matter? So let's just get the semantics out of the way. Now the build quality is okay. It's a decent weight, it's an even weight especially, but it's something to write home about. It's a 5.6-inch OLED with a 441 PPI. The build is plastic, although it does feel decent. The processor specifically is a mid-range Snapdragon 670. And it does come with a headphone jack, which let's be honest, in 2019, it's kind of like seeing a unicorn. If there are phones with a headphone jack next year, color me shocked. For all intents and purposes, its hardware is woefully mediocre. And then you throw that magic Google Android software on there and everything changes. It's truly shocking how good the experience is on a mid-range device. So I took the Pixel 3a on vacation with my then girlfriend, and I took some pictures especially, and they didn't disappoint. They were extraordinary. I was literally shocked at how good the pictures were. I was especially shocked how good the pictures were considering that I was using the Galaxy S10 just a week before, especially compared to a device that I was using that was twice as expensive. I've never said this before, but taking pictures was actually fun. If you don't believe me, check these snaps out. Now here's a night shot that to me is absolutely incredible. Now these images were not fixed in Lightroom in any capacity. They were not edited significantly. I did change the brightness contrast a little bit here and there. All that was done within the phone itself, but I didn't actually put into any professional software. Despite that, they still look extraordinary in my opinion. Now the whole part where you have to sort of wait for the image to go through post-processing, I don't really hate that because it's one of those things where I know that the image, when it's finally processed, is going to look incredible. It's just one of those weird things about the Google Pixel phone. This phone doesn't have the image processor that the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 4 have, so it does take a little bit of time for it to process. Not more than about 2 seconds, if I could be honest. But despite this, I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me. Yes, it is a mid-range device, but we still need to really talk about the performance. If I can be honest, my device did seem a little bit snappier when it was on Android 9.0. Now it's on Android 10. Certain things just don't feel as quick. Like, for example, the screen orientation. I'm in YouTube, I'm watching a video, whatever it is, and then if I turn the device, it just doesn't do it as fast as it once did. Not sure why, it just is what it is. It is possible that there's a background app that's causing this issue, but if I can be honest, I haven't really installed any app that's otherworldly or anything that should be causing any kind of bugs, so I'm not entirely sure why that is. Launching apps sort of also seems a little bit sluggish. I also had moments where doing certain things that some people would call processor intensive definitely kind of messed things up. For example, I was uploading a 5-part Instagram story. At one point, as I was doing it, the app just choked, crashed, and closed. Yeah, that sucks. Especially considering one part of the story does upload and then that's kind of stuck on your Instagram stories and it's incomplete. It's weird. This is one of those little things that nobody likes to deal with and it's not particularly fun. I'm sure that there's a couple of you that are listening to this right now and saying, well, when you install the new OS, especially for a big install that was over 1,000 megabytes or whatever it was, you should reformat the device, you know? But frankly speaking, there's just stuff down here that I just could not get rid of, and I just don't really think that's fair to ask any person that is using their device to have to reformat their device just because they installed a big update. These are things that usually even people that are on iOS or they use Apple devices don't like to do. Oftentimes, I mean, you all heard horror stories. Don't hit the new update because something somewhere is going to break. I'm not saying that anything is broken with this. I'm just saying it's not the magic pill that everyone made Android 10 out to be. That's all. But despite this, the performance is still pretty good. It isn't exceptional, and yet I wouldn't necessarily call it sluggish either. How would I describe it? It's bear with me. It's kind of like a decent server at a restaurant. I know it seems silly, but it is true. That's what I think about the performance of the Pixel 3a. It's not going to upsell you on anything fancy accoutrements. You're not going to get the steak or the lobster or anything like that. And in the Pixel's case, you're not getting IP68 waterproofing. You're not going to get the wireless charging. But it is two things. It's attentive and it's unnoticed. That's what a good server is. And in the Pixel 3a's concept and its device, it is just those things. It's awesome. And I think that a lot of companies can take a page out of Google's book and make devices like this, because I think more people really want them. The fact that we're at this $1,000 price range for flagships, it seems just a little bit egregious. I'm not saying that a phone isn't the most important device you have. It absolutely is. But you know what I mean? The Pixel 3a will give you very decent and acceptable performance. No doubt about that. It will give you excellent battery life even 6 months after using the device and charging it every single day. And it'll take some exceptional pictures along the way. If I can be honest, most people don't really want anything more than that. It's true. I want to take this moment and talk about call quality specifically. This is one of the things that sort of gets overlooked even with flagship devices. And it's especially something that's overlooked when it comes to budget devices such as the Pixel 3a. I don't fault any of the big YouTubers for not talking about call quality, but it's one of those things that is worth mentioning. And I think part of the reason is also because we're a generation now that kind of lives on AirPods and we use Galaxy Buds, and we usually make phone calls with speakerphone or we make phone calls wearing some sort of headset. It's just kind of the way that it is now. Most of us just find the idea of, you know, holding a handset up to our heads a little bit infuriating. With that being said, I do want to mention that the call quality on the Pixel 3a is passable. It's not particularly exemplary, and that makes sense. It is a budget device. When I speak to people, especially my fiance, for example, she'll often say that I sound a little bit hollow or tinny, and that's kind of the sound that you'll get when the receiving person's on the other end. Now, both of our devices have voice over LTE, so the call quality should be decent, but it's still a little bit, it's just passable, I would say. So, would I recommend the Pixel 3 at this point? Not really. Now, bear with me. What I mean is not at the $399 price point. Not when there's other excellent devices that you can also buy used. But my route would be, if you were to buy the Pixel 3a, do not buy it at full price. Don't buy it at $399. And if you live in a country or an area where that's not possible, I'm sorry about that. You can consider getting it imported, maybe through eBay or something, or maybe you have a friend that lives in the US that can probably pick one up for you. If you do live in the US and you live in a saturated market or like a big city like Los Angeles or New York, wherever it is, you can find the Pixel 3a for considerably less. There are a lot of people that are selling it for $250, even less than that. And I think that's an excellent price to pick up a Google Pixel phone. The latest and greatest software, exceptional camera, battery life. I mean, we already talked about this stuff. It's great. Other viable options could be Swappa, Craigslist, OfferUp. Obviously, check the device in person, you know, before you buy it. Make sure that the fingerprint reader works, make sure the screen isn't too scratched up. The Pixel 3a, unfortunately, really is not worth buying at full price, especially when phones like the Asus Zenfone 6 or the Galaxy S10e exist. The S10e, actually, it's one of those things that I really want to review sometime soon, so look forward to that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. Are you guys rocking the Pixel 3a? What's your next device? What's the next thing that you want to see? Are you waiting for the Pixel 4a, perhaps? Who knows? Who knows? I think that Google certainly made a huge profit margin when the Pixel 3a came out, so I really firmly believe that the Pixel 4a is without a doubt in the works, and I really hope that it is, because I think that's going to be a big contender for phones that are coming out next year. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. If you like the video, please hit the like button, please subscribe so I can stop selling assets like I'm Michael Jackson. Alrighty, thank you so much. I'm out of here. I'm such a weirdo in front of the camera. What is wrong with me? Jesus Christ. Key lights are everything.